back to Handmade No Hallmark, and today I've got 3 cards to share with you. These cards were created using one stamp set. I didn't pull out any other products for these cards, and I just love how they turned out. They're all one layer, full of dimension, and super elegant and pretty, and easy to mass produce for lots of cards. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So I pre-cut some panels of cardstock here. I just chose 3 of my favorite colors for Christmas cards, and I'm using the Joy to You and Yours stamp set. This came out back in 2022, and I finally got my hands on it. I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted it. I loved it because I loved all of the beautiful greetings in it. It does come with a die set. I didn't pick that up. I just have the stamp set, and I wanted to create some really easy, elegant cards that are all one layer. And using this big, beautiful kind of greenery stamp here, it's got lots of detail, and I wanted to kind of do like tone on tone with this. So I've got this soft navy cardstock from Simon, and I'm stamping it down using some inks from My Favorite Things. And I'm just kind of arranging the stamp around just to kind of create a background. Now it does kind of fade, it does blend in, and we're going to add some more elements onto it later. And I wasn't really worried about how it looked, if it was repetitive or anything like that. I was just trying to create some backgrounds. This one I wanted it to be mostly covered. And then on the green one I do later, I just wanted to do one because I wanted the greeting to stand out the most. And then the last one, the red one, I wanted it to be really, really filled up. So that's kind of the idea I was going with here. I wanted them to all be similar, that they could be a set, like a gift set, but I also wanted them to be different in their own way, if that makes any sense. So you can see here, this blue one ended up being my favorite out of all of them. Just something about blue and silver for Christmas cards really speaks to me. So I am going to speed this process up a little bit here because it's pretty repetitive. There's anything spectacular going on here. I'm just stamping down this beautiful stamp on top of these backgrounds to create some fun interest. And I did do a lot of kind of like multi-stamping just to make sure the impression was really, really good. Like I said, it does fade back quite a bit, but it adds just enough interest to be really pretty. The last one I did here was some Schoolhouse Red. Hindsight, I probably would have picked darker colors like I did with the blue one for the green and the red, because they did fade back quite a bit. The Schoolhouse Red ink and the Schoolhouse Red cardstock are pretty much the same thing. It fades back a little bit, but you can still see it. So hindsight, I maybe would have chose something a little bit darker. I have another red in my stash I probably could have used, but I just love Schoolhouse Red so much that I kind of stick with it. It's my go-to red for everything. So you can see here, I'm just kind of arranging this big stamp here to fill in all of the gaps on this. And don't worry about your stamps staining. That's just a sign of high quality. High quality inks and high quality stamps will stain. As long as you clean them really, really well, they will stamp beautifully for you later. I use a StazOn ink to clean mine, and they still work beautifully. Red just happens to stain. It's the pigment, it's the color. Red, anything will stain. So don't worry about that at all. And I just love the way that this turned out. At first, I was kind of like second guessing it. I was stamping it here. My husband was in here talking to me, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this. And he's like, just keep going with it, and I did. I decided to, just to go with it. Sometimes when you start out, you may not like something, but in the end, it does turn out really nice. So once I had all the stamping done, I wanted to add some interest around the edges, add some more dimension. They're beautiful just like this, but I like to add in some ink blending around the edges just to deepen it and make it kind of a bit more interesting. Again, you can leave them like this, beautiful the way that they are. I just personally like to add ink blending. So I am going to go in with some Rustic Wilderness on this green one and just add some ink blending right around the edges. This is another one of my favorite techniques to do. I really think it is fun, especially with colored cardstock, you can definitely start out with a white cardstock and add ink blending, do the whole thing. I personally just like to use colored cardstock. And then I also went in with a little bit of black soot around the edges just to deepen that color. For the blue here, I went in with chipped sapphire and a little bit of black soot. Again, another favorite color combination. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that chipped sapphire and black soot are some of my go-to blues for winter skies. So another favorite color combination. And then finally for the red one, I went in with aged mahogany and black. Aged mahogany and schoolhouse red, perfect pairing. I love it so much. Gonna go around and add that, and you can see it just adds some depth and interest to this. And again, super easy. You could stamp out a bunch of these in lots of different colors, do the ink blending, and after that we're gonna go into the stamping on these. So super fun. Love how these turned out. So the stamping I'm going to be doing is I'm still using that same stamp set because there's lots of big beautiful greetings in here. Excuse me. And I'm going to stamp this big one that says Merry and Bright, and I'm going to use some gold embossing. So I did start out with stamping it down with that honeybee metallic gold pigment ink because I thought maybe that would work out and it would be okay, but it kind of fades a little bit. It didn't stand out as much as I wanted it to. So I'm going to go in after I stamp this down a couple of times, and I am going to cover it with some gold embossing powder from Simon Says Stamp. It is their antique gold, one of my favorites. Again, if you guys have followed me for a while, my Christmas series happens to show a lot of my favorite things. Christmas is my favorite season, if you guys don't already know that. I just love making Christmas cards. It gets me so in the mood for the holidays. It's Halloween, I know, in a couple of days, but I am just so in Christmas mood. I've been listening to Christmas music for a while now. It just makes me happy. And then, ironically, I have Halloween nails on. So I've got a mix going on here in my life right now. I've got Halloween nails going on. I'm listening to Christmas music, making Christmas cards, getting Halloween costumes ready for trick or treat. It's a lot to process. But back to the card here. I love how this turned out. I love this big Merry and Bright across here with that beautiful greenery stamp in the background. Simple, elegant, just really, really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the stamping for all of these cards. I'm going to use a mix of the greetings. I am going to speed it up just a smidge. Nothing else too exciting with this. Just doing the same thing on these other cards. I'm going to pick some greetings or pick one of the big greetings from this stamp set, and I am going to, excuse me, stamp it down with a coordinating color. So for the red and the green, I decided to go with gold because I think it looks the best. And then for the blue one, I did silver. So for this one, I'm going to do the same. I chose the big Season's Greeting stamp. I love the filigree and all of the, like the border and everything that's around this. I think it is super festive and pretty. And I'm going to stamp it down using some of that clear embossing ink from Simon and use that same antique gold embossing powder. I did get a few pieces of embossing kind of strayed where I didn't want it, where maybe my ink wasn't quite dry. So I just used a dry brush to brush those elements away. You just brush them off and tap your card and they'll come right off, no worries whatsoever. And then I'm just going to heat that up as well until it's smooth and melted. And I just love the way that this turned out. Gold and red and dimension, green and gold, my favorite colors. I just love them so much. I just think they're classic Christmas. I have a hard time pulling in other colors. Like I've seen teals and pinks and those sorts of things. I just have a really hard time straying away from traditional Christmas colors. I don't know what it is. They're just my favorites. So for the last one on this blue card, I'm going to use that big Joy to You and Yours right in the center. I felt like it was absolutely perfect. I think that's why this one turned out to be one of my favorite cards out of this group. Just something about it just was really, really pretty. So again, stamping it down with that same sticky ink from Simon, and I'm going to be using some Brutus Monroe Sterling silver embossing powder for this, and get that heat embossed. A few pieces straight here and there, but again, just use that dry brush to brush those away, excuse me, and then heat that with my heat gun till it's smooth and melted. Once that was all done, I wanted to add a little bit more interest to the edges of these cards. So for the gold and the green card, I took out some Tim Holtz Foundry wax, and you don't have to use your finger here. You could use a paintbrush, but I find it's a little easier and I get a little bit more of an organic frame if I use my finger, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I have done this in the past with other cards. I just love this gold frame and how it looks. It's very kind of mismatched and very organic and rustic, which I really was going for with this card. And all you have to do is put the foundry wax on and then hit it with your heat gun, and the gold pops. So it's kind of like a quicker version of embossing powder, I guess you could say. I know it's a wax, but that's the way I feel. Like if I'm in a hurry and I want to do some embossing, just pull out that foundry wax. I wish they had a foundry wax in silver. If they do, please let me know, because I'm going to snag that up right away. So here you can see I'm just putting that on, going around the edges, and then it's an easy cleanup. Just kind of, use a little bit of water and this will clean right up. And for the silver one, I did something that I've done in the past. I took excuse me, uh, I took my embossing ink pad and I just ran it around the edge of the cardstock. So if you don't have foundry wax or anything like that, you can use your embossing pad for, in sticky ink or whatever like that, and go around the edges as well to create this fun organic border. I have done that in the past and it works really, really well. I just, again, don't have any silver foundry wax, so I just went ahead and used the embossing powder for the blue one. And the embossing powder that I'm using today is Sterling Silver by Brutus Monroe. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already, but one of my favorite embossing powders, and it works out great. And I'm just going to take a dry paintbrush and kind of brush away any of the embossing powder areas that I don't really like. That's kind of the nice thing about embossing powder, is you can just kind of brush it away, any of the pieces that you don't like, or maybe in an area that you don't want, and you don't have to worry about it messing up your project at all. So see here, I've got a little bit too much in that one corner. I'm going to leave it there on this spot, but then I felt like I needed to add a little bit more in one of the other corners here. So after I go through and get this where I want it, I am going to hit it with my heat gun. Going to get it all nice and melted, and I'm going to show you another way that you can do the same technique. If you don't want to use your embossing ink pad, there's lots of embossing ink pens. So I know Lawn Fawn has one. I believe Simon carries one. Wow, I'm not sure. I'll link to a few down in the description with all the other products I use today. But you can use an embossing pen. Mine is from Wow. And you can do this scribbling technique along the edge as well if you wanted to do something like that. Now, I would work in stages with this though, because it does dry pretty quickly. So I just wanted to share that with you guys here, that you can easily do the same technique with an embossing pen instead of using the embossing ink pad. And you can see here, it kind of melt it, you get the same effect. Really, really cool. Love it a lot. So that's just another tool that you can use. So once I had those all ready, I went ahead and did some cutting of some cardstock. These are just regular A2 size card bases. I believe it's Simon Says Stamp 110-pound cardstock. I left the insides blank, and I'm just going to adhere these down onto these card bases. I did the blue one and the red one as top folding, just regular like portrait style. And then for the green one, I did it as a landscape style card. Now on the red one here, I didn't cut a border on this one. I just left it so it was all the same size. And then on the green one and the blue one, I left a little bit of a border on it. So different ways that you can do these cards, with borders, without, anything like that, any way that you'd like to do it. This is just some of the different techniques I'd like to share with you guys on these cards, and how you can make some really quick and easy one layer cards if you're in a hurry, you need a bunch, for coworkers or anything like that, kind of last minute family cards, anything like that. This is a good option. It's all one layer, just using one stamp set, and you can add these fun touches to make them fun and unique. and I left them all blank like this. I didn't add anything else to these cards. I thought they were beautiful just the way that they were. You could definitely add embellishments or anything like that, but I didn't today. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button as well as the subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel. I really hope you guys enjoyed these fun, simple one-layer cards featuring some amazing products from Simon Says Stamp. And I can't wait to share with you guys the next videos. I'll catch up with you again real soon. Bye! On screen, I have a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Please consider hitting the like button as well as the subscribe so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel.